Tyler Adams might finally be free of Leeds, and U.S. men's national team fans might also be free of Leeds. And the reason I say might is one, we're going to talk about the Tyler Adams deal because it's not officially done. It kind of is, but it isn't. I'm only going to believe it when I see it. But it also is weird because there's this rumor that's been circulating that Leeds, which kind of makes sense because their coach has worked with Sargent in the past, they want to sign Josh Sargent. So we might you might get rid of Leeds for a while. Weston's gone, Brendan's on the loan, Tyler's leaving, but Leeds United might be a bit like herpes. You can't get rid of it, man. You can't. So Leeds United will be the new Premier, well, not Premier League, I guess English football herpes, just like Aaron Long is the USMNT herpes. So with that said, let's talk about Tyler Adams because it looks like he's going to go to Bournemouth. And it's a bit weird. Everything that happened is a bit weird because the whole transfer saga of Tyler Adams was a roller coaster ride. First, it was reported a couple weeks back that he was going to stay with Leeds. Then it was pretty much confirmed that he was going to leave Leeds and go to Chelsea. Then it was confirmed that he was not going to go to Chelsea. After that, they confirmed that he was going to go to Bournemouth. A few days after, they said the deal collapsed and he wasn't going to go to Bournemouth anymore. And then now it looks like he's actually heading to Bournemouth. So let's hope it actually finally, I guess, works out. But they say right here, U.S. men's national team Adams nears Bournemouth in a move of £20 million. Sources tell ESPN. 20 million is his relegation release clause, so it makes sense. That's what a team would pay for him. They wouldn't pay more, they wouldn't pay less. That's the relegation release clause. So why wouldn't they pay more? And everyone, if you just arrived, make sure to drop a like. Try to get this video to, I don't know, a lot of likes, like more likes than I need. But going on, they say right here, United States captain Tyler Adams on the verge of a move to the Premier League side, Bournemouth, sources told ESPN. The U.S. men's national team midfielder was with Leeds United last season, but after Leeds' relegation from the Premier League, Bournemouth have activated a clause in Adams' contract that will see him to leave Ellen Road for a fee around £20 million, which is around $25 million. Adams was close to joining Chelsea last week, but the move broke down at the last minute. There was interest from other Premier League clubs in the midfielder's service, but it was Bournemouth who looked to have won the race. Adams is set to undergo his medical on Friday with the personal terms agreed upon. Sources say the move would see him to step into the void left by Jefferson Lerma. That's a good defensive midfielder. Jefferson Lerma is a Colombian defensive midfielder. I believe he played almost every single game for Bournemouth last season, but then he left for free to Crystal Palace. And I'm pretty sure I watched a bit of the Crystal Palace game because Chris Richards wasn't playing, so I stopped watching. But I'm pretty sure Jefferson Lerma started that game for Crystal Palace, the first game of the season. So he left Bournemouth at the end of the season and took up a contract with Crystal Palace. Adams is incredibly versatile and can play across the midfield and defense. He was in the heart of Leeds midfield last season, and he was one of the U.S. men's national team players in Qatar. So, if you're a Bournemouth fan, I will be talking about Tyler Adams, his strengths, his weaknesses, why I believe this is actually a good move for Tyler Adams. I was actually even okay with him staying in the championship, mainly because of his weaknesses. But I do think that the right team, which I think Bournemouth is, especially with their coach, Andoni Iraola. I think I said it right. He's Spanish, so usually I get Spanish names right. Andoni Iraola. I think he's a good fit for Bournemouth. And we'll talk about that in a second. I also think Bournemouth made some good signings in the offseason. I know that until proven otherwise, Bournemouth is a relegation battle team, but I do think they're in a much better situation than Leeds was last season. They seem to be in an upward trajectory. And right now, with the signing of Tyler, looking into their new coach, that coach Rayo in La Liga did a good job there. Some of the signings they made, I actually think Bournemouth has a very good chance of not getting relegated. I also think the Premier League, and hear me out, don't get me wrong here. I also think the Premier League is a bit weaker this season. It was a bit stronger last year. I think even Leeds from last year would have had a better shot this season with some of the teams that are here. Like, for example, Luton Town to me is a team that's gonna go down. Luton Town's going down. And there's other teams like Sheffield. It's a weaker league than it was last year, at least from the bottom for the relegation battle, in my opinion. But Michael, he says right here, would have loved him to play under De Zerbi, but this will be a W in my opinion. Yeah, I know De Zerbi is the coach of Brighton, and I know that a lot of us Americans would have loved to see him with Brighton, especially after they sold Moises Caicedo. They also lost McAllister. McAllister went to Liverpool, and it seems like a good club to develop. I would just say one thing though, from what I've seen of the level of Brighton, it would help Tyler Adams. And don't get me wrong with this. Some U.S. men's national team fans might hate me for this. I don't think Tyler is up for that standard. I don't think he's good enough on the ball. But playing under Andoni Iraola, the coach for Bournemouth, and the way he wants to play, he likes to counter press, right? The Gegen press, or I mean, actual name, counter press. He likes to lose the ball, press, keep the ball on the defensive side of the field of the opponent, counter press, counter press, counter press. And that does work with Tyler. But understand, Andoni Iraola, he's not like Jesse Marsh, right? It's not just press, 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 soccer on crack, direct. He knows how to also play in possession. He is a very highly qualified coach. He coached Rayo. I'm pretty sure they defeated Barcelona in the league. I remember Rayo defeating Barcelona, and he was in charge. He got promoted with them from La Liga 2 to La Liga 1, and he finished mid-table last season with a team that doesn't have that much money, right, Rayo? So it's a very good coach, and they also made some good signings on the offseason. But just to show you all one thing right here, Fabrizio Romano, I know Fabrizio Romano has gotten a few things wrong with Tyler Adams, Moises Caicedo, but he also reported this. He said today at 9 a.m. Eastern time, he said Tyler Adams will undergo medical tests in the next hours in order to become a new Bournemouth player. Medical booked later today. He's now arrived in London. So the deal's going to happen. I think now it'll finally happen. Tyler Adams will leave Leeds, thank goodness, and he'll go to Bournemouth. And understand, once again, I did say I was okay with him staying with Leeds because the other option was Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea would have been good for Tyler Adams. I also don't think it would have been good to go to Liverpool because I don't think he would have played. We got to start understanding what Tyler's level is. He has a very high soccer IQ. He's very good defensively, and he's versatile. He can play as a central defensive midfielder on a lone six. He can play in a double pivot, which, by the way, Bournemouth will probably play in a double pivot, and he'll be more of the defensive midfielder on the double pivot. And Tyler Adams is not very good on the ball, period. I don't want to hear it. He isn't. He has his limitations on the ball. With that said, he's a very useful player for a team like Bournemouth that will have other players that can contribute on the ball. Tyler is a very effective player when your tactics are to counter press, and that is what they're going to do. So Tyler Adams will be very useful. And he's also one of those players that if you need him to play left back, he'll play left back, he'll play right back, and he'll be very good, very solid with it. So there's a lot of use for Tyler Adams in this Bournemouth team. I think he'll start as a central defensive midfielder in a double pivot, right? The dual pivots. I think they're going to be playing a 4-2-3-1. So he's probably going to be in the double pivot right there. But if they need him to play fullback, he'll play fullback and he'll do a great job. But again, understand his limitations. If you're a Bournemouth fan, you will have to understand that. Tyler's not a central defensive midfielder that's going to really make things happen on the ball. He's not going to make line breaking passes. Probably not going to score a goal. Probably not going to have. Maybe he'll have one goal in the season. Probably not going to get assist. That is Tyler Adams. But he'll provide a lot of defensive solidity for your team. And I think in the counter press too, he's amazing on the press. So he does add a lot of value for Bournemouth, and I do see him as a starter for this team. That's the way I see it right now. And this is what I want to go through real quick here. This is one thing that I wanted to show everyone. It's the transfer. So Bournemouth made some good signings this offseason too. So I'm interested to see of how they'll actually perform. They had the first game, right? Bournemouth already played the first game of the season. If I'm not mistaken, they tied. I didn't really watch their first match, but they tied. I'm trying to look here. West Ham. They tied West Ham in the first game of the season at home. Maybe not the greatest of results. West Ham was shit last season, but Bournemouth wasn't that great last season as well. We're going to go through that in a second. Regardless, I think they made good signings. They have a good coach. It might take a while for him to get things going, Andoni Iraola, but I think once he does, things will work out well. I do think overall this is a much better situation than Leeds, and it'll be just fine. Jojo's asking here, high soccer IQ, but not good on the ball. Well, Joe, those are different things, right? A player's good on the ball is more of like his technical ability on the ball. He doesn't have the ability or maybe the speed of play to make the line breaking passes, to dribble past defenders. He doesn't have that ability. He's not good on the ball. Soccer IQ can be other things. Soccer IQ can be vision. I think Tyler Adams does have vision, just doesn't have the technique to do so, to implement that vision that he has on the field. He has great positioning. He's very good. He has very good understanding of tactics. If you have a tactical plan, Tyler Adams will execute it perfectly. He has a great reading of the game. His positioning is great. That is soccer IQ. So soccer IQ and being good on the ball are not the same. Not the same. You can be a player that is extremely technical, very good, but a fucking dumbass. Sorry for my French right there. I try not to curse here. Excuse me right there. But be very stupid, very low soccer IQ, not smart on the field. Tyler Adams is not like that. That's what I meant. So they're not the same. Uh, but let me keep going. So they made some good signings. It's very interesting. They did lose Jefferson Lerma. We went through that already. He went to Crystal Palace, and yep, he did go for free. But overall, I think they strengthened their squad. They got a good coach, and they did escape relegation last season. This is where Bournemouth was last season. Let me pull it up the table here for the Premier League. Last season, Bournemouth finished in 15th place, 15th with 39 points. Leicester that got relegated 34. So they had like a 4-point gap from relegation. So they were fairly close. Not 4, 5. Sorry, 5-point gap. They had 39 points. But they had a bit of some gap there. It's not like they barely escaped relegation. And I do think there's two reasons for me to believe this team won't get relegated at this moment. At this moment. The two reasons are pretty straightforward, pretty simple. They strengthened the squad much more than I expected. They got a good coach. That's another thing. And I think the Premier League is weaker this season. You see, the teams that went down were Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton. The teams that came up were Sheffield, Luton Town, and Burnley. I think Burnley could be at the mix of Leicester, Leeds, Southampton level. That's a team that's kind of maybe not the same technical level, but it's a team that's very tough to beat. But Sheffield and Luton Town are definitely weaker teams than all three that I mentioned. I think the Premier League has gotten weaker, at least at the bottom, and that helps Bournemouth. So everyone that was saying that they're worried about Tyler getting relegated once again, can it happen? Of course. The Premier League is the best league in the world. It's highly competitive. If you're not at your best, you could end up going down. But right now, there's 3 spots to go down. And let me bring up the table here, the actual table of this season, so we can all look at what I'm talking about. There are 3 spots to go down. I think Luton Town and Sheffield have 2 of them on a lock. That's what I'm thinking. 2 of them are locked. And then who else can get relegated here? Of course, Bournemouth is one of the candidates. Wolves, for sure, even though I thought Wolves looked fine against Manchester United, but Manchester United also is just shaky at times. It's a very tough team to judge other teams, even lower table teams. Everton can get relegated. By the way, they just signed Jack Harrison from Leeds United. That's another team. I think Brentford should be all right, Brighton, everyone. So it's mainly that. They're going to be fighting with 3 other teams for one spot. I think Bournemouth could be all right. And I think they made good signings. I think Tyler Adams adds good value. They should be fine. And Zachary Johnson says here, I knew Tyler Adams wasn't going to Chelsea. He's not good enough, not to mention he's built like a 12-year-old boy that needs to hit the weight room. He needs some milk. Yeah, I mean, Tyler is not the strongest player. He does provide some strong tackles, but he's not big. I just think that Tyler Adams is not the Chelsea standard. I just don't think he's the Chelsea standard. And I understand Chelsea was a mess last season, but the Chelsea standard is to try to win the Premier League, is to try to compete in the Champions League to win it. I don't think that's Tyler Adams' level. And this is not really being a Tyler Adams hater. This is no hate on Tyler. Tyler could be maybe a role player for Chelsea, but when he goes to a team like Bournemouth, Tyler comes in to be a starter and contribute and be one of their best players. So I think this is a much better situation for Tyler Adams than just to go to Chelsea and ride the bench, just so you can walk around saying you play for Chelsea. So I think this is a much better situation for Tyler. For Bournemouth, he'll be valued. I'm pretty sure the Bournemouth fans are going to love him. The coach Iraola also. I do think Tyler Adams. So Pochettino likes to hold possession, right? Pochettino is in charge of Chelsea. I don't think Tyler Adams is good in a possession-based system. Now, when you're going to go play with Ariola, I understand that he will try to get Bournemouth to also play in possession, because in the Premier League, you have to be able to play in possession. But Bournemouth will be counter-pressing a lot, a lot. That's how Iraola likes to play. And Tyler Adams is at his best when he's counter-pressing or when he's playing in a pressing system. And to me, that's great. It's going to work out. President Chip saying, is Flo going to West Ham? We don't know yet. Floating Balogun. He's been rumored to go to West Ham. He's been rumored to go to Monaco. He's been rumored to go to Inter Milan. He's been rumored to go to Tottenham. We don't know. What we do know is that Balogun is most certainly going to leave Arsenal at some point. The transfer window closes in what, like 12 days? So expect to know by 12 days. That's kind of stupid of me just to say that. And everyone, if you just arrived, drop a like. Let's try to hit 300 likes if we haven't already. Michael's also saying Seth just said Chelsea are going to offer for floating Balogun. They're going to offer Chelsea will try to get Balogun. I don't know. We saw that rumor of Chelsea trying to get Balogun a while back. We saw that a while back already. So I don't know about that. We also have a couple other U.S. men's national team rumors to talk about in this stream. One of them is Dest could be going to PSV because Ernie Stewart is in charge and he's trying to recoup all the U.S. men's national team players. You got Pepe, you got Malik Tillman, and now Dest might be heading to PSV. Chris Richards, there's a chance that Chris Richards will be leaving Crystal Palace and heading to Stuttgart in the Bundesliga on a loan. I would actually love that move from Chris Richards. He knows the Bundesliga. He can play there. If he goes to Stuttgart, he'll probably start, and that'll be great. I'm pretty sure Stuttgart stayed in the Bundesliga. I'm pretty sure they didn't get relegated. I hope. I'm not saying something very stupid in the live stream. Yeah, Stuttgart is still in the Bundesliga. So if he goes there, that'll be great for Chris Richards. And I mean, the other rumors we got also that Sargent could be going to Leeds because Fark is in charge of Leeds and he knows Sargent. They work together. Look, for me, that would be a stupid move for Sargent. If Sargent is going to leave Norwich, go to the Premier League. If you're going to stay in the Championship, just stay with Norwich. Just stay with Norwich, to me. But of course, money talks. Maybe Leeds will offer more. But I want to show you one thing here from their new coach, Andoni Areola, the new coach of Bournemouth, before we move on. Areola remained the second division in August of 2020, taking over Paco Jimenez at Rayo in La Liga, Rayo Valencano. On July 6th of 2021, after achieving promotion in the playoffs, he extended his contract with Rayo until 2022. The following season, he led the club to the last Final Four of the National Cup. Well, the National Cup is the Copa del Rey. It was the second time that Rayo had achieved this, the first occasion coming in the 40 years earlier. So he got to the semifinals of the Copa del Rey. That's fantastic. In February of 2023, Iraola was approached by Leeds United. He was approached by Leeds. Leeds try to get the coach that is coaching right now Bournemouth and will, take over, Tyler Adams. But it was not given permission to leave Rayo. He left at the end of the season and he didn't want to renew his contract. And then on June of 2023, Iraola was appointed the manager of Bournemouth on a 2-year deal. So that's the additional information on that. Let me remove this here. Let me go through here and I'll go through some of the chat. So it looks like Tyler Adams will get announced sometime soon by Bournemouth. I already talked about this move. I think it's a great move. We're going to keep you updated every Monday or Tuesday on the U.S. Men's National Team Abroad series. By the way, everyone, the U.S. Men's National Team Abroad series is back. And next week, we're going to have the first episode of the season. And we have 2 episodes. Don't miss out next week. Put your notifications on. We're going to have 2 episodes with Brett Oppenheim, a massive U.S. Men's National Team fan and a Netflix star from Selling Sunset. He's a Netflix star from Selling Sunset, massive U.S. Men's National Team fan. He's going to also talk about, he partied with the players in Vegas. So he talks about that in the video. Which U.S. Men's National Team player do you think turns up the most when they're partying? He gave us a few names of what he saw in Vegas. It was lots of fun. We're going to have that episode next week. But anyhow, we'll keep you all updated. The news of Jesus Ferreira going to La Liga was fake news, but it looks like the same team that they reported that was interested in Jesus is actually interested in Brendan Vasquez, which in my opinion makes a bit more sense, but we'll see. Everyone, drop a like and let me know your thoughts down below on Tyler Adams' move to Bournemouth. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me why. Because I want it that way. Okay? Backstreet Boys reference. Backstreet Boys. All right.